Alright, so we've reached Parashat Vayetze. This parasha is about Yaakov Avinu. You will see how there are many, many lessons to be learned, especially in the book of Bereshit. Even though, obviously for us, the entire Torah is important because of the laws that it contains. But in Sefer Bereshit, because of the many stories, the various incidents, there are a lot of valuable lessons. So what's interesting about the very beginning of the parasha is that it begins pretty much with a dream. Yaakov leaves his hometown and he heads towards Haran. His ultimate goal is to get married. According to the Midrash, on his way he spent some years learning Torah, learning whatever there was to learn back then. But as he sleeps in a very holy spot in Yerushalayim, as he's sleeping, he has a very interesting dream. Now you know that most dreams are nonsense. I have a whole lecture about dreams, how to distinguish a real dream from a non-real dream. The vast majority of dreams are really not that important for us to pay attention to. It all depends on the time of the night that you dreamt, depends on how much clarity there was. There are various factors that can help to determine if it's a real dream or not. Yaakov has a real dream. He has a vision. On his level, his neshama, of course, he's worthy that they communicate from above through a dream. When I say communicate, it's because there's all kinds of communication. Prophecy was also a form of communication. There's all kinds of ways in which they can communicate with us. One of them is a dream, and it could be a very powerful message. So Yaakov has a dream, and this dream, even though it's real, still has something to do with his thoughts and with his worries. A lot of the times when we have a dream, it reflects the anxiety, memories of the past, experiences that we've had, and that is why we see familiar scenes, we see all kinds of things that disturb us, and it has to do with our feelings. And it's not necessarily based on any reality. So Yaakov has a real dream, but nonetheless, a good deal of what he hears in the dream has to do with what he was worried about. So, in Yaakov's dream, he is told that there's nothing that you need to worry about. You're concerned about your safety. Hashem says, I will protect you. So, besides that he sees the angels going up and down, which I'm going to talk about next, besides that, he actually hears a voice being told, don't worry, no reason to be concerned whatsoever. I will protect you. You will go in peace and you will come back in peace. Well, that's very, very nice. He's getting a promise here from Hashem that everything will be okay. If that's the case, then why is he still concerned after he woke up? After he wakes up, he still tries to think about what's going to be with him. You know that he's headed in a very, very unsafe place. This is the house of the greatest crook in the neighborhood, Lavan Harami. He's known. He has a reputation. So, Yaakov has reason to worry. He's headed to a place where he's not so sure what's going to happen to him. But he was just told not to be concerned, not to be worried. But that was physically. He's going to have physical protection. Now he has something else to think about, to worry about. And that is, spiritually speaking, when you go around bad people, spend time with them, live with them, work with them, you may assimilate to their ways. And he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be like them. So therefore he has concerns about that. Spiritually, how is he going to survive all this time that he's going to be there? Yaakov, of all people, has reason to be concerned because he represents emet. Even though Abraham and Yitzhak, of course, very much valued emet, the truth, Yaakov stands out in this area. In other words, if anyone teaches us emet, it's Yaakov. Every one of our forefathers taught something else, represents something else, is symbolic of something else. Abraham was chesed, kindness. Yitzhak was the service of God, yirat shamayim, the fear of heaven. Each one in his way taught to his people, to his family, and to us, of course, certain important characteristics. Yaakov Avinu stands out in the midah of emet. So, what does he have to fear? The rabbis tell us it's easier for the emet litkalkel, it's easier for emet, truth, to get ruined, to become corrupted, than it is for sheker, for deceit, for lies, to get fixed. If somebody who's truthful, who conducts himself honestly in business, for example, it's easier for him to fall and to eventually become corrupted than for somebody who is corrupt and he's a liar and a thief to fix himself, to learn from someone who's honest to be honest. It's just easier, unfortunately, for the good to go bad than for the bad to go good. So that is why Yaakov, of course, is concerned. He doesn't want to, God forbid, go bad. He's concerned that this may happen. We have a rule when it comes to learning the Parasha, or even the Navi, even the prophets. Maaseh avot siman labanim. You may have heard it. What happened to our forefathers is a siman. It's an indicator what will be in the future for us, the children, the descendants. Maaseh avot, what we read, the stories of Yosef, for example, how he was thrown into the pit, sold into slavery, landed in jail. All those details, all those stories, Maaseh avot, the stories of our forefathers, is an indicator to the children. What kind of an indicator? What will be with us? What happened to them will repeat itself in a different area in the world, perhaps in a different scenario, but a lot of it will be repeated. As they say, history repeats itself. So what happened to our forefathers will repeat. So pay attention, and you will be able to get a glimpse or an idea of what to expect. Now, we, of course, are thousands of years after the fact, so now we can look back, not necessarily forward anymore. See, oh, look, what happened to Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, what happened to Yosef, happened with us throughout our history. That is the simple meaning of Maaseh avot siman labanim. It also means that their maasim, their deeds, their actions, the way they behaved and what they accomplished is a siman for us to follow. In other words, that we have something to learn from them. So what do we learn here from the dream of Yaakov? Not to worry, that's not the main detail. There's additional information in that dream. He, after all, what does he see? Besides what he heard, he sees malachim, angels going up and going down. Right? Remember that? There's a ladder. He sees a ladder, and where is that ladder? The bottom of the ladder is in the ground, and the top of the ladder, magia l'shamayim. It reaches heaven, very big ladder, and he sees that some angels are going up, some angels are coming down. So I had a question. Since when do angels need a ladder to go up to Shamayim? What's the purpose of this ladder? If you look at the story of Hanoch, an angel visited them and told Hanoch and his wife, you're going to have a child. That's Shimshon, Samson. An angel appeared to them too. There's no ladder over there. So what's this ladder? What does it represent? So one idea, the way the commentary is explained, is like this. This ladder, the Torah describes that the bottom of the ladder is in the ground. But the head, the top, is in the Shamayim. We need to be grounded. We have no choice. We live in a physical world. So even though we're very grounded and we're very much connected to this physical world, we should not forget our ultimate goal, ultimate tachlit, the purpose of life. Our head has to be in the Shamayim. So the ladder here represents in itself, besides the angels, it represents, look, you're tied down to this physical world. Your physical body is here. It lives here. That's fine. You have no choice. But don't forget, your head, you're focused. Head means you're focused. Where you're aiming to get should be Bashamayim. This is where you come from. This is where you're headed back. So remember, you have a purpose in life, and it's not to be too attached to the ground. So yes, the bottom of the ladder happens to be very attached to the ground, and that's fine. But don't forget that the head should be in Shamayim. Your focus has to always be in the right place. So you don't forget what you're here for. You're not here just to make money and just to enjoy yourself. There are some people whose head and feet are both in the ground. Everything is in the ground. That's all they think about. That's where their focus is. And that's no good. So in order for us to be able to stay on the right path and to stay properly focused, what is necessary? Look at Yaakov. What does Yaakov do right away after he gets up? He realizes that it's important to stay focused, but he can easily become distracted. So he makes a neder. He makes a promise. Wow, a promise? You need to make a promise? A vow? Why don't you say, God willing, inshallah, I come back home and I'll take care of all these matters that I need to take care of. Why does he have to make a neder? Remember, rabbis discourage us from making almost any type of nedarim, any kind of vows. Why? Because it's serious business. If you make a promise about and you forget it, you forgot it. Not that you intentionally did not keep it. Even if you forget it, it's no good. There's a tremendous accusation against the individual who has unfulfilled promises. So whenever you promise, say beli neder, I'll do this, but I don't promise. Like this, you don't take a chance when you say words like, I'll see you tomorrow, I'll do this another time, I'll do this, but beli neder. It's always good to, God willing, yes. It's always good to say it that way. Like this, you're not exactly committing yourself 100%. A commitment is important, and that's what Yaakov Avinu is doing here. He's committing. But how is he committing? Through a neder. When is a neder advisable? Whenever you're in a sakana, you're in a dangerous situation, you're drowning, you're in jail, you're about to go through court, and the attorneys told you that your chances are slim, you may not win, then you're in a predicament. A neder, Hashem, if you get me out of this, then I promise you I will do this. And what you're promising, of course, is something substantial, something special, not something like, I'll put $18 in the tzedakah. No, that's not kind of the neder that we're talking about. It's a real commitment. So Yaakov, in order to be secure with his mindset, with his goal, with his commitment to whatever it is that he's committing, in order for him to be more secure, he secures it with a neder, with a vow. So that's why this neder can sometimes be helpful. Imagine somebody who has a habit with smoking, and he's trying to kick the habit, and he can't. No matter how many speeches he went to, no matter how many people have spoken to him, he saw how the lungs are completely black. He saw. They showed him images. One day he decides, okay, I have to kick the habit. For every cigarette that I smoke, $100 in the charity box. That's going to be expensive. That may hold him back if it's a neder. Again, assuming that he respects nedarim. And usually a religious Jew does. He realizes that this is serious. So that may be the only thing that may help him. So the rabbis tell us that sometimes nidrei zeruzin, to get somebody to do something, if a neder helps, then it may be okay to make a neder. But you have to be careful. So Yaakov wants to make a commitment. Hashem will protect him. Hashem will be with him. He also will give of himself. He will commit to whatever it is that he's committing, spiritually speaking, that he will do. And we're going to see a little bit of what he commits to soon. Commitments, therefore, can save the day. In other words, it's not just the neder, it's the commitment. I commit to do something. That's very special because a lot of people have dreams. Day and night they dream. Not just at night. They're daydreaming. They would like to do something, but they don't really do it. They're not committing to do it. They're not serious. It's never going to get off. It's never going to get off the ground. So you have to make a commitment. I want to do this. I plan to do this. Things may not work out, but at least you tried. There's no commitment that you're never going to get started. So here, Yaakov realizes that it's important for him to make a neder because he's headed in a very, very risky place. To a risky place where there's a lot of people who are not honest. But what about the ladder itself? What does the ladder have? It has steps, right? What is the symbolic meaning of the steps of the ladder? So you could say that the fact that he sees a sulam, and here he's aspiring to reach great heights, to achieve a lot in life, he's shown a ladder which has steps. Sir, don't forget, as you're aiming high, which is very, very good and important, don't skip. You can't skip. Shweya shweya, as we say in Arabic, step by step. A lot of people rush to the Kabbalah before they have the foundation, before they know the basics. They can't do that successfully, so easily. I mean, there are some people, of course, who have a great mind and they can perhaps handle basic Kabbalah, but that's not good. It's much more advisable to start from the basics, from scratch. Get a good dose of emunah, of faith in God, first. Good dose of it. And build it up. Learn a little bit about the Torah, and then if your neshama, if your soul is drawn towards mysticism, go ahead. Some souls are drawn to mysticism. Fine. But do it step by step. So that is one idea that can be learned from the ladder. Another idea is that you see the malachim, you see the angels going up and down. Why should they be going up and down? Okay, if you read the Midrash, then of course you'll get the regular explanation. These are angels that are leaving Israel, that were accompanying him, and there are other angels that are coming down when he heads out of Israel. Different set of angels. So those that are leaving are going up, those that are coming now are coming down. All right. But it also could mean the following. Life has ups and downs. Remember, we just said Yaakov is concerned. He has these worries. What if he falls? In Hebrew we say, don't worry even if you fail. Ki yesh yerida letzorech aliyah. Sometimes a person falls. He failed. He made a mistake. But that will help him. Had he not fallen, he wouldn't have gotten to where he got because he fell. So the fall sometimes will help him. As a result of his fall, he becomes now stronger. So he's seeing in the dream, Olim ve'yordim, he sees angels going up and down. Remember, life has ups and downs. And don't be afraid if you fall, if you went down, because many times the going down will be letzorech aliyah, will be in order to get you higher than you could have gotten to without having fallen. Without having fallen, you would have gone step by step. But here, because you fell, now you really have to work hard. Now you're going to get additional help. Who knows? All kinds of things that Hashem can do as a result of that fall or that challenge that will enable you now to grow to even greater heights. So what do we see from this is that all the ups and downs and all the troubles that we have in life really should not even be called troubles or ups and downs. They're better called challenges. A challenge is really a very good word to call all these kinds of situations. It's first of all a better word than saying troubles, tzarot, even though it's true, people have tzarot, troubles. But the reality is that every tzara, every trouble is also a challenge. What does a challenge mean? It's not just, will I be able to stay strong and therefore be rewarded in the upper world, which we will be, for having dealt with the challenge properly. It's not just about the reward. The challenge will build us. Challenge is a learning opportunity. It actually teaches us something. It will do something for us. So Yaakov is going to be challenged like nobody else has been challenged when it comes to honesty and deceit and cheating through Lavan, of all people. Wow. It's interesting to think about it. Why is Hashem allowing Yaakov to spend so many years in this guy's house, close to him? We're going to talk about that soon. What does Yaakov really have to learn here? Does he have to learn? Yes, of course. The answer is yes. Yaakov is going to learn. Not everyone knows everything. How do we learn? Not from books, from experiences in life. Life teaches us. What exactly in life is a teacher? Experience, challenges. So Yaakov is going to go through all kinds of nisyonot to build him up, to make him even stronger. Of course it's not easy, nobody has ever said it's easy, but it's all letzorech aliyah, it's all to elevate the individual in order for him to become a stronger person, in order for him to learn something. And Yaakov, his greatest challenge, at least now at this stage of his life, is remaining true, remaining truthful to his principles, truthful to whatever it is that he learned up until now, and not moving away from that. What's the risk? What's the challenge exactly? Well, some people will tell you, oh, you can't make it in life unless you cheat, unless you steal. If you don't overcharge, you can't make a profit. You know how many times I've heard this? I hear this a lot in certain communities, and I won't say which, but I think you'll figure this out. That people have told me, I have to say that this is $200, even though it's really only 50. Why do you have to say 200? Because I know this guy is going to get me down to 100. He's going to get me down. So I start high. Is that okay? You have to be careful. You have to be careful, because even though you're entitled to make a profit, it's okay, and it would be better if you would say, sir, this is how much I paid for it. I want to make 20% on it. That's my profit. That's what I make, and if you want it, take it. That's fair. The problem is, somebody told me that he tried that. And the guy told him, swear to me that that's how much you paid for it. He didn't believe him. So he asked me what to do. So I told him, go back to this guy and tell him, my rabbi said that I cannot swear. That's it. You cannot swear. Of course not. How could you swear? But look how people are trying to get anything they can. And they bargain and they negotiate. You have to be careful. Even though you're entitled to make a profit, what are you going to say? How are you going to present it to him? You can obviously not lie and say, I'm telling you, this is the best product in the market. Are you sure it's the best? Or is it because you want to sell it to him? You can't play around, even though it's called business and people do all kinds of things like put rotten strawberries at the bottom of the basket and all the beautiful ones on top. It's not fair, it's not right. Unless everybody knows that that's customary, that the not so good looking strawberries are always at the bottom. If people know about that, that's fine. Then they accept it. But if you intentionally do something like that, you're lying. You tell the guy who's buying the car, as is. As is fine, but let's say you know that the transmission is about to go kaput after a couple miles of driving, then it's not right. You can't just tell him as is. It's not fair. You're stealing from him. So a lot of people think it's okay, that's part of doing business. No, that's called lying, it's called cheating, it's called stealing. Yaakov is very much against that. Yaakov very much sticks to the truth. But here he's about to face the biggest crook. So it's going to be a challenge for him. And what's going to happen in this kind of a challenge for the majority of people? Em lo ya'amdu bechach. They will not be able to succeed. Most people, when they're challenged with monies, issues of money, it'll be very difficult for them to deal with people in a 100% honest way. Yaakov, of course, is 100% honest. And that is why it's going to be very, very challenging for him, seeing how everybody is cheating him, and what is he going to do about it? How is he going to defend himself? What exactly is honesty? Is honesty just not lying? No, honesty is a lot more than just not lying. There's a nice story of a company that was hiring workers. And they wanted an honest worker. And they interviewed several people. And they asked the following question in the interview. Sir, what would you do if you placed an order for pens? Let's say pens. And the company that sent you the pens sent you one extra pen. What would you do? So one of the potential employees said, well, it's just a pen, just one pen. It doesn't cost that much. This is a big company. I wouldn't do anything about it. I'll just put it away. So what? They made a mistake. It's only one pen. Another worker said, they don't even know the difference. If it's one pen more, one pen less. It's not a big deal for them. Every worker said something else that justified why they should keep the pen and not say anything even, not even report it. There was one worker that said, I would just return that one extra pen. That's the worker that was hired by this particular company. Why? That's honesty. Regardless of what you think about that company, how rich they are, it's wrong, it's a mistake, report it. Now, if you want, you can call them up. Let them know, and let them say, oh, God, just keep it. I'm sure that's what they would say, for a pen, depending what it was. But just to ignore it means that there's a certain weakness over here to overlook the fact that a mistake was committed here. And you have to bring it to somebody's attention. If you overlook it yourself, or ignore it, that means that you don't care so much. So it's lacking in honesty, in integrity. It's not about if it's minimal or if it's more. Forget that. That's not important over here. Yes, it is minimal, but that doesn't matter. It's still indicative that the person is really not doing what he should be doing. And that is bringing it up, at least bringing it up to the people on top, to management or to somebody who can take care of it and instruct him what to do. To assume that it's okay is wrong. So what will make the difference between the one who will be honest and the one who will be dishonest? Where lies the difference? And I'm not talking about upbringing here. Upbringing and education, we all know that it makes a difference, but what is the ultimate determining factor where the one will be honest all the time and one who will not be honest, at least not all the time? What is it that is different between these various people? I think the best answer, the best explanation is a pasuk, a verse that says, Ohavei Hashem sin'u ra. Those that love God, you should hate that which is evil, that which is wrong. Hate? Why hate? Because what that verse is telling us is that if you really love Hashem, if you really want to do the right thing, you should not tolerate evil whatsoever. A lot of times people tolerate. They don't like doing the wrong thing. They won't intentionally cheat or lie. Well, occasionally they'll tolerate. If they see somebody else do it, they won't say anything to him. If you really are Ohev Hashem, then sin'u ra, you have to protest. It has to bother you. If it doesn't bother you, then little by little you'll just give in and maybe eventually even, God forbid, do the wrong thing. So that is the key to understanding the differences in people. Some people will tolerate evil. They say, it's okay, it's not a big deal, it's not the end of the world. Some people will not tolerate it. They will always be against it. They will always feel bad about it. It will pain them to see people do that. Yes, pain them. It's very, very painful for those people who are honest to see others who are dishonest. How could you do that? How could you even... Oh, he's rich. He doesn't mind. He doesn't care. I can give you a whole list of excuses that I've heard. You know how much he's worth? The whole downtown. I'm sorry, half of downtown is his. So what? So what? It's wrong. Where does it say you're allowed to steal from the rich? You see what I mean? It's people justify it in all kinds of ways. And that is why it's very important that if you want to be emet, if you want to be truthful all the time, that we train ourselves not to tolerate. No exceptions when it comes to being truthful. So Yaakov Avinu, as a result of being exposed to all of this deceit, he is strengthened even more to stay as far away as possible from this type of people. You don't want to associate with these kind of people. Yaakov, however, has an advantage over many people. We began to say earlier that a lot of people would not be able to survive or do well and succeed in this kind of a challenge. Yaakov has an advantage. What's Yaakov Avinu's advantage? And you see that in this week's Parasha as well. When Yaakov asks Hashem for help, he asks him the bare minimum. Hashem, if you give me bread to eat, remember, and something to wear, beged lilbosh, I'll be happy. Very, very modest of him. He didn't ask for a house. He didn't ask for a car. He didn't ask for luxury. He asked for the bare minimum. You know what this teaches? Yaakov was mistapek, we call it in Hebrew. He was content with little. He didn't have big eyes. He didn't covet. He didn't have any interest in material things. At least not a lot of interest. Just the bare minimum, what he needs. Someone who has this midah of being content with a little, he has a good chance of staying out of a lot of trouble. Why? Because somebody who is content with the little bit that he has will not easily be jealous of other people who do have a lot. Jealousy is a problem. A lot of people get into trouble because they're jealous. First of all, even if they don't do anything that's wrong, just the fact that they're jealous, it eats them up. They're bothered by it. They don't have peace of mind. They're jealous. Person who's content with what he has, don't bother me with all this stories about how much money he has, how many homes he built. Who cares? It doesn't interest me. Thank God, I have a little house and I have what I need. I don't think of anything more. So that midah, that characteristic of histapkut b'mu'at, being content with the little bit you have, will help not to become jealous. What else? Somebody who's not jealous will not easily lie. He doesn't have reason to lie, not as much. If he doesn't lie, hopefully he also will never steal or cheat people. They all pretty much help each other. Being content with a little bit hopefully will help with not being jealous, not having any reason to lie, and of course not going so far as to cheat others. It wouldn't make sense. What for? He doesn't crave it for himself. So you see how this midah can help. Yaakov Avinu has this advantage in helping him stay away from the lure, the temptation of wanting to make every dollar possible. There are people that think of all kinds of ways, how can I get more money out of him? It's not just about being hungry for more money. It's not just that. A lot of people would love to have money because they idolize money. That's the problem. It's a separate problem. It's also that they don't have complete integrity. When people do not have complete integrity, when they're not 100% honest, it will make it difficult for them to see that other people are very successful. In Hebrew it's called lo mefargenim. They're not necessarily going to be so happy for other people's success, which is connected to jealousy. Be happy for somebody else. Baruch Hashem, he made it. He succeeded. A lot of people are bitter. Oh, I could have bought that house. And we're going to talk about that soon. Where does that come from? Where does that bitterness come from? Not necessarily jealousy. There's another issue that they have that they don't realize. People need help. That's what we're doing here. We're learning valuable lessons that can really help us. Look at Yaakov. What he teaches, what he represents. That there was no reason to put such an emphasis on material things. If I have what I need, I'll be happy. That should be the case for everyone. If you have what you need, then why should you want more? It's obviously because people do not have the correct perspective, the correct outlook on life. What is life all about? What's the purpose? What is really important? What is a priority? They don't have that. So again, Yaakov has an advantage that he has this beautiful midah of histapkut, of being content. This midah will also be a form of keresh kfitzah, as it's called in Hebrew, a springboard towards acquiring other good midot. If a person is content, he'll be happy. Who's really rich? One who's content with his share, with whatever. He'll be happy. He's a real wealthy man, not the one that has millions of dollars, who's afraid of that people will come take it away from him, who is worried all the time. People who have a lot of money have a lot of issues, a lot of things that they need to worry about. This guy doesn't have any issues, doesn't owe people any money either. He doesn't owe because he didn't borrow. He didn't borrow because he doesn't have a great need to live on a very high standard. You have people who have gotten used to living at a very high standard because they eat out every night in expensive restaurants. Did you ever figure out if you can really afford it? At the end of the month, they see the credit card bills and they see, oh wow, how am I going to come up with the money? Don't you know how to manage your finances? Yes, some people don't know how to manage finances, but it starts from the basics. What's the ABC? The ABC is don't spend a lot to begin with. Learn, of course, how to manage your money, but who told you that you need to eat out and in the most expensive restaurants? So these are some of the problems that we have today, even more than years ago when people were not so materialistic. Today, the generation is very materialistic and has many, many problems because of that. When all of a sudden the wife complains that she doesn't have what she needs, and here the husband is using the money for things that he shouldn't be using it for. All right. So histapkut, being content, will help one build up a lot of other good characteristics as well. Anyone who's gotten used to living modestly will not have as many worries. You will not be as stressed out as people who are constantly seeking to advance, to build a bigger house, to remodel, all these things that bring tremendous tension in the home, headaches, anxiety, and worries. This man is content. He's really, really protected from all of these negative feelings that people have. So even though we said it's important to be happy and content and limit your interest in that which is materialistic, when it comes to spiritual matters, ruchaniut, don't say, oh, I've given tzedakah. Yatzati yedei chova, I already fulfilled my obligation. I already helped people. That's it, no more. Be careful. When it comes to spiritual matters, when it comes to mitzvot, make use of every opportunity you have to fulfill the mitzvah, to help people, to be sensitive towards others. And don't say ever, I've already done my share, I've already done enough. You've never done enough. Remember, every time a poor man comes to your door, it's a challenge. How will you react? What are we going to tell him? I've already given all my charity already. Why is he to blame? He needs help. That you've already given so much to others. You give him a little bit, you can't give him so much. One has to be very, very careful when it comes to spiritual matters, not to limit himself. Where do we see that with Yaakov? Yaakov promises that if everything goes well and he comes back in peace, he's going to give maaser. He's going to give 10% of his earnings to the holy, to Hashem. Remember? Now maaser is a very, very powerful tool. Maaser is a form of charity. Yes, maaser is a form of charity, but what makes it different than just plain charity? It's 10% of the net income. Why does Yaakov do that? Well, think about it. Here he's making another commitment, another promise, and this commitment has to do with money. By making such a spiritual commitment, which will require of him to give a substantial amount, he is helping himself. He's not only doing a good deed, a mitzvah, he's helping himself control his appetite for money. I'm not going to let the money become an idol. I'm not going to let it control me. I'm going to control it. I'm going to give away 10% of that money, because money is not for me to keep. I won't be taking it to the grave, but I got to get used to these kind of ideas. How am I going to get used to these ideas? I'm going to stay focused on what this money is for. Why did Hashem give me money? Of course, to buy bread. Of course. But also to help others. The more you have, the more it is your job to use that money properly. Yaakov therefore sets the example, 10%. By doing that, this will help him in controlling any potential appetite for money. He's not going to have such an appetite. On the contrary, he's going to just want to continue to help people with that money. It's a challenge. Giving charity, giving maaser, it's a big challenge. But it's very helpful. It's not just a mitzvah, it helps a person control his view of how he views money. Money is just a means to an end, it's not an end in itself. Whoever does maaser on a regular basis, it has tremendous segulot, tremendous powers to protect his money. He will see blessing in his money. It's very, very powerful. Maaser, it's known that it's very, very much of a protection of a person's fortune. Otherwise, there's all kinds of things that can happen in life that will take away some of that money. Thieves, con artists of all kinds. And here this money has extra protection because of the maaser. So a lot of people do not act like Yaakov. We said before that it's not so easy. A lot of people just simply go with the trend. They're not so strong like Yaakov. And we have to figure out why. Why is that? So we said earlier, it has to do, of course, of the tolerance level of a person. How much tolerance we have towards things that are not proper. Yes. But here we're not talking just about being tolerant or not tolerant when we see things that are wrong. We're talking about doing the right thing. So yes, when dealing with doing the wrong thing, there are various explanations of why people fall for it. But what about in doing the right thing? Being helpful to others, giving tzedakah. Why do some people have a harder time than others doing what is right, what is correct. So there's a very interesting incident in the beginning of the parasha that most people, when they read through it, don't realize the importance of it. Remember the story of Yaakov arriving at the well? The well, his final destination, there's a well there. Who does he see at the well? Shepherds standing. And what does he tell them? What are you doing? Standing. It's not the time yet to go home. The day is still long. So they said, we're here with the sheep. We want them to drink. And we can't give them to drink because there's a very, very heavy stone covering the mouth of the well, remember? So we need everyone to come. When everybody comes, we will have the strength to remove that stone. And by the way, if you read on, what does it say? Yaakov on his own removed it. But what's the point of telling us this story? The Torah doesn't just tell us stories. If you think about it, why is Yaakov so upset? Just because he thought they were standing there? Maybe it is true. It is a heavy stone. What they were saying is true. What bothered him? So the commentators explain what Yaakov was trying to tell them is, you guys didn't try hard enough. You're standing there because you claim that you can't do it on your own. Did you try? A lot of people don't try hard enough. That's their problem. You should have tried. Eventually you will succeed. If you try hard enough, you will succeed. You didn't even try. That is one problem with a lot of people who really would perhaps do something right, something good, but they don't try. Or they think it's not possible. You have to try. When it comes to physical matters, we're also told to try. Come on, go for another interview. Try to look up in the newspaper or somewhere if you can get this job. I mean, we try to do everything we can, make a phone call. That's in physical matters. The more so in spiritual matters where we really need to apply ourselves. There's an evil inclination trying to discourage us. The more so that we have to try and try and try. Don't give up so easily. If you didn't succeed the first time, you'll succeed hopefully the next time. What else do we see with people who don't necessarily involve themselves in spiritual matters? Not only don't they try, the problem that they have is that they're mostly preoccupied with physical matters, materialistic things. Their head is, as we said before, in the ground. Their head is not upstairs where it should be, Bashamayim. They're not focused there. So these people, obviously, because they're so into physical matters, they don't have the time. They don't take the time to realize prayer is so special. Mitzvot are so important. Apply yourself more. No. They will never even think about it unless you point it out to them, unless they wake up one day. So either people did not try hard enough, or their head is completely in the ground in physical matters and totally not focused where it should be. So what needs to happen? One of the most important things that will help people who have not tried hard enough or whose mind is elsewhere is to appreciate the mitzvah. Let's say we're talking about the mitzvah of tzedakah. Any mitzvah. Appreciate its value. You know what it's worth? You know how special it is? Read stories about what happened to people who did tzedakah in this world and in the afterlife. They don't know. So the first thing that needs to happen to change people's mind and heart is for them to become convinced that this is special indeed. Well, if they don't go to a class, they don't read books, that's never going to happen, and it's a shame. That is why it's incumbent upon every Jew. If you have any degree of influence over your friend or neighbor or relative, you need to do your best. Try. Because it could be, if it didn't sink in now, it will sink in a year from now when he realizes I should have listened to my friend last time. We have to try. We never know without trying if our words would go far or not. They may be really effective, and if they're not effective now, maybe later on. Try and try harder. Even if you don't succeed, don't give up. However, don't forget that it's important to impress upon people and upon ourselves too the importance of what it is that we're doing. Without giving it importance, if we think that this is just a custom, it's a nice thing. then eventually we'll cool off. We won't show any interest. It's important that we realize that this is valuable. This is the Torah. This is our heritage. And only if we really treat it properly and we respect it and appreciate, is there a chance that we will actually want to commit ourselves to it. So it begins with knowing the importance of something. People who have a hard time with any mitzvah, first show them how special it is and how important it is. Don't tell them, come on, it's easy, you can do it. That may not do it. That may do it once. Show them how this is so special, how your forefathers were willing to give their lives for this. Do you know that? Why should they? Come, try out Shabbat one day. See how beautiful it is to sit around with the family, good food, good songs, peace of mind. You didn't hear the news because you can't open the TV, and there's no internet. A whole different lifestyle on this one day of the week. You will see what blessing is. Oh wow, this is a real blessed day. This is a holy day. It feels so different. I wish every day was Shabbat. That people don't taste it. If you don't taste, you don't know what it's like. Then we have people who do try. People who did try, who are convinced of the value of the mitzvah, but they also don't succeed. What are they missing? It's called hatmada, constancy, persistence, being consistent. Yeah, that is a problem that many people have. They're convinced, they want it, they'll try, but they don't last, or they don't do it as consistently. Hatmada. You have people that learn, but then after a few weeks, they stop, took a long break, and then they eventually come back to it. They don't have hatmada. They're not constant. If you're not constant, of course, eventually you're going to let go of it. What does constancy do? Constancy is very powerful. It creates a hergel. It creates a habit. Habit is like a second nature. If you get to do something a long time, after a while it becomes second nature. It becomes easy. You have no problem with it. So that's why it's so important. Lehatmid. Never miss as much as possible, unless you're on vacation or something happened. Never miss. This way, this atmada, this constancy, will give you the strength to be able to resist pressures that come along sometimes and try to take you away from what you were doing. So we have to give it importance, obviously, what we're doing, but we also have to be matmid. We have to be constant. Those people who ridicule, obviously, who are disrespectful or whatever mitzvah it is, they're not going to want to have any interest in it whatsoever. Forget atmada. So that's why it's always important first to impress upon the individual how important it is that he respect it. Once he respects it, he will appreciate it, hopefully, and eventually he will practice the mitzvah, whatever it is. Okay, going back to Yaakov. So Yaakov faces all these challenges. He sees right away that this guy's a crook. You can't trust him, right? He cheated him so many times. You have to read the Midrash to see how many times he did it. Because in the Torah, you only see a little bit. So I had a question. Yaakov, you were there for 14 years initially. What for? To get married. That was the contract, that was the deal. You work 7 years for each one of them. For Leah and for Rachel. So 14 years total. Why does he work 6 more years? He's got married, he has children. Now he's working an additional 6 years to have more wealth, to have more animals, to have something to take home with him. But why work here? Go fetch yourself a job somewhere else. This guy's a crook. Whatever deal you make with him, whatever you sign, he's going to switch it around. He's going to say, no, I meant this, I meant this, I meant this, I meant that, depending on whether it was to his advantage or not. You see that no matter what you do, you're going to lose out. So why work with him for another 6 years? I don't think anybody can come up with an easy explanation for that. Think of it. Why work 6 more years, a total of 20 years? So it's all Mishamayim. Obviously, Mishamayim, they wanted him to stay along for another 6 years. What will happen during those 6 years? He will realize something that he always worried about. He will realize that no matter how much the crook is going to try to cheat you, if Hashem is going to protect you, nothing will happen to you. And that's what he learned. That's what he saw. And it's actually explicitly written so in the Torah. Yaakov saying, no matter what your dad, talking to his wife, no matter what your dad tried against me, Hashem blessed me. Hashem watched over me. I was protected from this crook. Oh, you see? Yaakov, this is what I wanted you to learn in the household of Lavan. You were in the house of the biggest crook. And still, no matter what he tried, every trick in the book, Hashem protected you. You see? If you have Hashem's protection, I don't care if all the crooks gang up on you, nothing will happen. They won't succeed. That is the lesson that Yaakov needed to learn. Of course, we learn it from him. If we have Hashem's protection, hopefully we should have, then no reason to worry about it. Obviously, you have to be cautious. You have to be very cautious. You don't take a chance because you don't know how much protection you will have. So you have to do the normal thing. But if you did everything to be cautious and people still try to cheat you, leave it to him. Yaakov saw firsthand that no matter what this crook tried, he failed miserably. Hashem protected him. What does this teach Yaakov? Which midah does this teach? That Hashem is always there to protect you. Which midah is that? Which character is it? It's called midat habitachon. It's called trust in God. Of course he believes. Baruch Hashem, we believe in Hashem, but do we have bitachon? Do we trust Him 100%? A lot of people have a problem with this. They're weak in trust of Hashem. And I have several lectures about the difference between emunah and bitachon, faith and trust. Yaakov is learning real bitachon in Hashem. And real bitachon means you don't have any worries or concerns whatsoever. I'll do my best and Hashem will help me. If it happened that somebody hurt you, it was meant to be. I did whatever I can. If it still happened, it was meant to be. Who talks like that? Only one who has bitachon in Hashem. Rabbis tell us further, nobody will touch what's coming to you. There are places in the world, I know in Mexico City at least in downtown, but there are other places where there's 10 shoe stores in the same street. And you wonder when you go through, how do they all make parnasa? How do they all make a living? 10 of the same? Go to the jewelry district here too. Or anywhere where there's a lot of stores of the same. How do they all make a living? Leave it to him. A customer will go in here, another customer will go in there for whatever reason. It's all handled from above. It's all part of the mazal. No reason to worry. If you have bitachon b'Hashem, that He's the one that provides livelihood, then somebody can compete with you and still He will not take away a penny that is coming to you. Important, valuable lesson to keep in mind. Anything that is coming to you, nobody will take it away from you. If it's not coming to you, that's something else. If it's coming to you and He took it away, then you'll get an inheritance from some aunt that remembered you. Or some other way. There are many, many ways. Hashem has many, many messengers to supplement your income that you thought you lost. You just lost a lot of money. If it's meant for you to lose, kapara, it's an atonement. If it's not meant completely for you to be lost, all that was meant here for you to have the aggravation, it could be just the aggravation, then that money will be restored to you somehow. You'll make it in another deal. It could be that all it was an aggravation, which is also a kapara. It could be it was meant for you to lose a certain amount of money. We don't know. But if it's meant for you not to lose it, you're going to get it back somehow. It's not easy to develop bitachon. It takes a lot of work to understand what's involved in trusting Hashem. It takes time. I'll tell you a quick story that happened to a great rabbi, the rabbi of Ponevezh, who later became the Rosh Yeshiva of Ponevezh, the Yeshiva of Ponevezh in Bnei Brak. Mm-hmm. He had recently become engaged. And in those days, a dowry was very, very important for the young man, especially if he wanted to continue to learn. His father had told him, I will provide food, take care of you for 4 years. That's very, very nice. For 4 years, no worries about rent, food, all expenses paid. Somehow, during the engagement, the father-in-law, the future father-in-law, lost his fortune, which meant that he cannot pay up, cannot keep his promise. And he told his son-in-law, listen, you don't have to continue with the wedding if you don't want to. I can't keep my promise. This is what happened to me. I'm sorry, it's not my fault. So this rabbi went to consult with the Chafetz Chaim of blessed memory. Rabbi, what should I do? Should I let go of this marriage proposal? Should I break off the engagement? So the Chafetz Chaim asks him the following question. Tell me, how long was your father-in-law going to support you for? 4 years. How old are you now? 23. I see. So in 4 years, you're going to be 27. Yes. You know, the average lifespan of a human being is 70. So tell me, who would support you for the next, 43 years? Right? From 27 to 70? So you know what he said? In Yiddish, der Eibishter wird helfen. God will help. So the Chafetz Chaim says, oh, really? The Eibishter wird helfen, God will help you for 43 years, but he can't help you for 4? Here you're saying you don't worry, you don't have any issues, you don't have any concerns about 43 years to come. That God will help. But he can't help you for 4 years? What are you thinking about? Sometimes people don't think straight. That's because the bitachon is not completely strong, or they didn't think about it. But that's the reality. Hashem, of course, will help. What's the question? Don't let go of the shidduch, of this match. Hashem takes care of people. Hashem marries them off. You don't think he'll provide for them? That's part of the package. He brings the souls together. He will provide for them as well. That is why it's not a good idea to push off marriage. I first have to have a business. I first have to have a job to support my wife. Don't push it off too much. It's not healthy. Once you get married, you'll be blessed. The marriage brings beracha. 2 heads are better than 1. People who are concerned about it, it's no good. You obviously have to have a place to live, and you have to make the minimum to be able to support a family, but don't think of grandiose dreams. Marriage is important. That is why when Yaakov arrives at the house of Lavan, he doesn't talk about money. When he asks him, Mama skurtecha, what's your salary to work for me? Your daughter. No money? You don't want to talk about money? Your daughter. Right away, he's an old man. He's talking, I need to get married. I want to have a family. That's priority number 1, not the money. Marriage is important. People who just push it off, and I don't have the money, all kinds of excuses, it's never going to happen. What a shame, what a loss. It's a priority in Judaism to have a family. A lot of people today are single only because they're thinking that I first have to have a good job. I first have to have a lot of real estate. It's not so. The beracha will come after the marriage. The wife will bring the beracha, the blessing. Just to finish up, I was saying before that there's a lot of people who are always dreaming, but they never end up doing anything. We see from Yaakov Avinu that in the moment he gets up from his sleep, he immediately acts. And he says, if everything goes well, I come back in peace. This stone will be an altar, a matzeva. What is all this? He acts right away. With Paro, later on we'll read about Paro. Paro has a dream, but he went back to sleep. Sleeping, dreaming, sleeping, not acting. Yaakov gets up, doesn't go back to sleep. He realizes that this is a great, special place. He realizes that this vision was real. He realizes that he has an important mission to accomplish. He says, if everything goes well, I plan to use this matzeva as a place to worship, a place to pray. He realized the importance of the matzeva, the altar, as a compass in life. This is the direction. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to follow. So I'm going to set it up now. I'm not going to push it off. I'm going to set this place up right now, and eventually come back to it and continue with it, because this is my compass. This is my focus. The matzeva, in other words, his connection with Hashem. Don't just continue to dream. Get up and act. That is what Yaakov did. As soon as he got up, he acted. He made a commitment. However, people who lead a false life, they're not truthful, will have a very difficult time making commitments or doing anything right. Midat sheker is the exact opposite of truth, of emet. Sheker corrupts, sheker misleads, sheker makes a person fail in many, many, many ways. And that is why that's the only midah, the only characteristic on which the Torah says, midvar sheker tirchak. It doesn't say tirchak, stay away on anything else except for sheker. Stay away. Never lie. Otherwise you will fail. And that is what David HaMelech says in Tehillim. Mi yagur be'aolecha. Mi yishkom behar kodshecha. Who will reside in your tent, Hashem? Who do you love being next to you? Olech tamim u'foel tzedek v'dover emet bilvavo. One who walks upright, who performs acts of kindness, who does things in a just way. Foel tzedek. But, what's the last one? V'dover emet bilvavo. And always speaks truth in his heart. In his heart? What does that mean? To speak truth in the heart? Yeah. What you thought of doing, you deliver. Even what you thought about. You're truthful all the way. Not only what you said, but even what you thought about. And that is also the path to Teshuvah. If you look at the Haftarah of next week, Parashat Vayishlach, the prophet says as follows: you want to do Teshuvah? The way to Teshuvah is as follows: Ve'ata belokim tashuv. Return to God. How? Chesed u'mishpat shemor. Make sure you observe acts of kindness, be fair and be just, be truthful and honest. Ve'kaver elokecha tamid. And always put your hope and trust in Hashem and pray to Him. This is the path to Teshuvah. This is what is required to get back in line. A person continues with Sheket, he will never be able to do that. Whereas the following pasuk says, Vilu Knan, Knan, in other words, the non-Jew, the Knanites, Beyado moznei mirma, all he has is scales of deceit. La'ashok ahiv. He loves to steal. There are people, that's what they love to do. That's where their mind is at. Just to finish up, just to remind ourselves that when we say speaking truth in the heart, what we mean is that if you intended to do something, try to deliver on it. A word is a word. You gave somebody your word, keep it. Try as best as possible to deliver on what you've promised, as best as possible. Try not to make a neder. But if you thought about something, I'll give you a quick example. Somebody came to me, and I thought of first helping him, let's say, with $50. And then I said, well, maybe for this I should give less, and for somebody else I should give more. Because it was my first thought, I'm going to give him what I first thought. I trained myself that whatever I thought first, if it's a good thought, deliver upon it. Always try to be truthful, even with that which you thought about in your heart. And in this way, obviously, if a person gets used to always saying the truth, there's no doubt in my mind that he will be blessed with a lot of berachot and shemirah as well. He will be protected from Shamayim.